Hey y'all, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to talk about Christian fantasy book recommendations. Alright, so I'm not someone who reads a ton of fantasy, but I'm slowly getting into the genre and enjoying it. And I want to just do a quick video talking about just a handful of my favorite ones I have read so far. And I did a graphic for this on Instagram, but I wanted to make it into more of a video form. So I'm probably going to start doing some book recommendations, like a series on my channel where I just pick a handful of these books, similar to how I'm doing the graphics on Instagram, and turn it into a video form. So if you've seen that graphic on Instagram, you probably know the books I want to talk about, and well, there goes that. I got my notes in here. I tried to do some quick takes, okay? So you may see me looking at notes, but hey, it's fine. But I will say, most of these, if you have been around in the community long enough, you already know about these, I'm sure. I'm the last to probably read them. It's fine, but I still want to recommend the ones I have read so far and generally enjoyed. And I had someone ask me for Christian fantasy recommendations. I will tell y'all, the people y'all need to be looking at for Christian fantasy recommendations, I would recommend a few people: Love It with Holly, Celestria, Christie's Purple Library, and the writing Songbird. Those are the four that come to mind right off the bat. I'm sure there are several other of you who are making those recommendations, but sorry if I missed anybody, but those are the ones that come to mind. I know Celestria has a fantasy recommendations video. I'll find it and link it. If I find any others, I'll link them too. But those are the girls I think about because that's their top genre. They love it, and I have found some great recommendations from them as well. So yeah, but for my quick video, they probably know about these. So I'm the novice over here, but I'm going to tell y'all about the ones I've enjoyed. First on the list is Dust by Kara Swanson. This is more of like a fairy tale reimagining of Peter Pan. It is classified as a Christian fantasy. So this is Peter Pan in modern day London. He's desperate to get back to Neverland. My brain. Okay, yeah. So he's desperate to get back to Neverland. Only hope to get back is through Claire and her dust. So Claire is trying to find her missing brother. He's been missing for 6 years. He left a note saying he was going to Neverland and he never come back. She has this skin condition though, where she has golden flakes that come off her skin, and that's her dust, right? So she goes on this journey to London to find her brother, and after she gets this lead that he could be there, and had been kidnapped, but she ends up meeting Peter Pan. So there's stuff that goes down.
No.
What are you doing? Bro.
I thought you were done.
No, I ain't. What are you doing, Hubs? I'm doing a fantasy video.
Dust?
Kara Swanson. What do you think it's about? Impromptu.
Is it Peter Pan or like...
Hey!
Yeah, it looks like Peter Pan.
We're not to see it, Hubs. Peter Pan. What are you doing in here?
I think you probably told me that. That's probably why I remember.
Did I tell you that?
I don't know. I think that's why I remember. Sorry.
Don't discredit yourself, Hubs.
Anyways. Alright, see you.
He done video bombs. I love the characters in this. Tiger Lily, we see Peter Pan. Two perspectives here. We see Claire and Peter Pan's perspective. Listen to the audiobook, and the narrator was amazing. And this is a duology. I didn't see the plot twist coming at all in this in the end. So yeah, I liked book 2 as well. I think I gave it 4 stars. I gave this one 5 stars. I just had a really good time with these. So yeah, I highly recommend this. Do you even have a Christian fantasy recommendation video without this book? Hello? Wishtress, Nadine Brandes. Now look, I tried to read Fox by Nadine Brandes. That's also one that's more of a Christian historical fantasy. I give it 3.5 stars. It wasn't my favorite. I didn't understand the magic. But I read this one. Honey, I was here. I gave this 5 stars. I've been talking about it forever. Everybody know mama talking about it. What am I saying? But I was just blown away by her storytelling. I really connected with the audio in the first half of this, and then I physically read the last half. I read it really fast, like in like a couple days. This is going to keep you on the edge of your seat for sure. This is all about mirth. Her tears grant wishes. Everybody pretty much wants a wish, right? Like, you know how that goes. Bastian, he can stop time. Their paths cross. Everyone wants something from mirth. Unfortunately, she gets cursed, and the next tear she cries could kill her. So that's how the story goes on. People in this world have talents granted to them, but she was born with hers. I feel like this was fairly easy to understand for it being a fantasy story. There are some parts with Bastian's time stopping that I was a little bit confused about at times, but overall I still really enjoyed the story. I love the characters. There was so much happening. There's some sad parts in this where you're just devastated at one point. There's some good Christian allegory in the last 50%. I do feel like you have a little bit of Hunger Games vibes because you have some trials that you have to go through in the end here, and kind of gives you that divergent Hunger Games vibe feeling. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what else to say except read it. Next on this list is The Wonderland Trials by Sara, and I forgot that book 2 comes out in September in my most anticipated releases video, y'all. So several of y'all commented about that, and I was like, oh my goodness, I forgot. So I put it on my graphic when I posted on Instagram. The Looking Glass Illusion, I think is what it's called. Forgive me if that's wrong, but that comes out September 16th. So yeah, I need that. I need to get that pre-order in. But I really enjoyed this. I'm not a big Alice in Wonderland person, but this was very unique and just a great young adult Christian fantasy. Almost like that retelling again, but it is labeled as a young adult fantasy. I know that there was much faith allegory in this, but I think if you love Alice in Wonderland, this is for you. It took me about 50% to get really invested. Once I was here, I was here. I gave it 4 stars. In this one, you really don't know like who to trust, what's real, who's fictional. Alice really wants to escape her normal life in Oxford, and so she's trying to find her parents who abandoned her 10 years ago. Her older sister Charlotte is arrested for having the Wonder Gene, and that's the key to unlocking this Wonderland reality, okay? This curious Wonderland reality. And Alice ends up playing for Team Heart in the Deadly Wonderland Trials, and it reminded me of Hunger Games. It's like, what? So people start going missing. Her team are trying to solve these clues. There's a lot of great world building in this. It's easy to understand. There's a little bit of a budding romance in this. It's light. So I hope to see that expanded upon. And again, the next book comes out September, and I need to read it. So it does end where you like, I think did it end in a cliffhanger? I can't even remember now. I read this a year ago. Okay, I can't remember everything. A memory Amanda lost. But again, if you like Alice in Wonderland, pick this up. The next book I have on my list is Resistance by Jaye. I did a whole vlog with this. This is one of Celestia's favorites. I know it's one of Reese's favorites as well, the writing Songbird. Like, a lot of y'all love this, and I loved it too. It's a Christian medieval fantasy, non-magical. It's wonderful. All I can say is it was a very surprising read. If you don't love fantasy, I still recommend this. It's easy to understand. There's some great Christian allegory in this. It's easy to see, like Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego story here. They're not going to bow to these false gods. And so in this, we have Chiron. Is it Chiron or Korean? I can't remember now. Anyway, her twin brother Caden, they are training in Tarvin Hall. They are both believers in Elam. That's allegory to God in our world today, and they have to keep their beliefs hidden. And so the Emperor Dakan, he wants everyone to worship the false gods, and anyone who is not worshiping them is sentenced to death. Let's get crazy at this point when Korean, I can't remember, has to work for Emperor Dakan, okay, to read people. Again, Daniel stuff, like, it just really reminds me of Daniel, like how he interprets dreams, you know, like, I don't know, and like wanting it to bow down to false gods. It was so good, and they're like, nope, we ain't doing this. So things start to get crazy. But then we have this guy named Jace, and he's half human, half animal. People really doubt he has a soul. They don't really like him, but he is a believer in Elam. He doesn't really know his purpose, but he works under Rayad, who's like this father figure, mentor for him, and they end up crossing paths with, it's Korean, ain't it? and all of them, and a resistance starts here, and I loved it. I think it's amazing. 5 stars, one of my favorites of the whole year. Highly recommend it. You gotta read it. Then I have Oath of the Brotherhood by Carla Laureano. If I was to continue on in this series, I would have to reread this. I will tell you that right now. There is a lot going on in here that I don't think I fully understood. I gave it 3.5 stars. I'm still including it in this video because I think it's one that if you are a fantasy lover, you're gonna love this. You know, I know that when reading it, it's probably for you. You know, like, this is medieval Celtic vibes here. I rounded it up to 4, I want to say, on Goodreads. I think a lot of y'all would like this. Some things, like I said, I was just confused. So mostly I think the names in this are really hard to pronounce for me. So I was listening to the audiobook, but I got really, really confused. A glossary in the front of this book and a map that tells all the different terms and everything. So it does read more like a higher fantasy for me because I did not know how to pronounce this. I mean, there's 3 pages of just pronunciations and definitions. So I say that because I know that a lot of y'all would like this because of that alone, okay? I mean, it's more of that like in-depth fantasy story. But in this we have Connor and Anne. Yeah, I'm looking at my nose. I cannot remember. But it's Connor and Anne. He is a musician and a follower of the Forbidden Faith. He was the son of a king, but raised by this foster family. He was not taught how to fight. He studied different languages and such, but he don't have any fighting skills. And so he's sent away by his real father to learn how to fight. And then we have Anne, a girl he meets there who's like a king's sister. Right? He falls in love with their king's sister. Okay, yeah. Again, I can't remember nothing. But he realizes he has magic and music abilities that are tied together. And the kingdom goes under attack. Connor has to protect her, all that stuff. Romance is a part of this. It's a very small part of the story, if I remember. And we do see God and Jesus represented here under different names. So yeah, it's a very, very in-depth story. I think that a lot of y'all would like it. Again, if I continue on though, I will have to reread it because I don't remember enough to continue on. And there were some things I just missed. I know I missed it, but I wanted to add it in here because I know, like I said, a lot of y'all would like this. And then the last one on the list is the one I just finished reading this last month, and that is Heart of Red, Blood of Blue by Rebecca Belliston. I need to get a copy, but I listened to the audiobook of this. I have the ebook. It was amazing. 5 stars. Just a great kingdom story. There's war, all this stuff. I've already talked a lot about it in my recent wrap up, but we have this girl Gisela, and she is the daughter of this king, and he's wanting to betroth her off to somebody. The person she was originally supposed to be betrothed to, he was killed early on, and so she ends up being in hiding for like, I think it was 10 years, wasn't it? I don't know, a long time. And so now he's brought her out to try to use her in his allegiance to, I don't remember these kingdoms' names, but this kingdom and stuff, and try to kind of get what he wants. And the guy she's supposed to now be betrothed to is a really bad guy. He's awful. Luther, whatever his name was. But she has albinism, and so they keep trying to hide that that's what she is and has. She has very pale skin, and her hair is very white. They make her wear wigs. They just try to make her look as colorful as possible because they don't want anyone to know about this. And she ends up being able to escape her betrothed. There's a guy that she says she's in love with. I think he was a bit selfish, so, you know, you just gonna have to go in and read it, but we'll see what happens. So there's this guy that she's in love with, and so she kind of like goes after him, and there's some war breaking out. All this stuff goes down. It is a bit violent for content warnings, but overall I didn't have any issues as far as reading the content, but I want to mention that because there's some more violence in this, and there's just all this kingdom fighting back and forth stuff. And I really like the faith elements that were in this. She has a cross necklace that, you know, is a gold cross necklace that she keeps and she prays and all of this stuff. So I do like seeing that. And there are some Christians that she meets along the way that help her. It's almost like her angels. I'm doing a better job explaining this here than in the wrap up. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, I think this is just a really great story that a lot of y'all would enjoy. The ending, there's a lot of twists, plot twists. The plots in this, I mean, I'm telling you right now, the twist, I did not see it. I was like, who, what, It was so good. So highly recommend this. The audio narrator is great. Just read it. You will not regret it. That is it for my fantasy recommendations video. Again, most of y'all probably already know about these, but let me know down below in the comments some of your favorite Christian fantasy or just fantasy books in general. These are all just Christian, clean fantasy reads. I have read some secular fantasy, but I didn't include those in here. You know some of your favorite fantasy books down below in the comments. Are any of these ones that you need to read, need to get to, have read already? Let's chat below in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye, y'all.